Okay, so we should be live. Let's make sure that the picture comes up on the screen. I got my phone over here, got the YouTube page pulled up, just waiting very patiently for my picture to show up. There we go. Okay, so today I decided would be a good day to open up from the Powers of Grayskull, the Masters of the Universe Great Black Wizard. He's a great black wizard, has to be a trip. The great black wizard has such a supple hip. How do you think he does it? I don't know what makes him so evil. Well, he's got a big old pinball at the top of his helmet. And I'll stop singing now. So, this is a character that I believe was created for the Masters of the Universe Classics line, and the figure was never made, actually. But they did have plans to make this figure, and he does reuse some parts from Blast Attack. He reuses some parts from a lot of other figures, actually, but the most notable ones here are for Blast Attack, because when they first posted that they were going to do the Great Black Wizard, people saw those thighs, and they saw they were the Blast Attack thighs and said, hey, that means they're finally going to do Blast Attack. There goes my 3D printer again. So yeah, he actually came out before Blast Attack. So technically, Blast Attack reuses his legs now. But yeah, the original plan for the Classics figure was that he was going to reuse, among other parts, he was going to reuse Blast Attack's legs. And he's a pretty cool design. Obviously, this character is supposed to be kind of a precursor to Skeletor. I'm not too familiar with him because even though, like I said, he was created for the Classics line, and he did appear in some of those mini comics for the Classics line, I never read them, so I'm not intimately familiar with this character as I am with some of the Masters of the Universe characters. He's one that I'm not that familiar with. Sean Franklin is here, and he says hi. Hi, Sean Franklin. Hope you're doing well. Let's go ahead and get this out of here. And does this box actually have anything in it this time? Sometimes it's just a spacer. Sometimes it's got something in it. This time it's got some accessories. So let's set those aside for the moment. And here's our figure in his little plastic blister. And I guess all the accessories are in the little paper envelope, because there don't seem to be any other accessories in this blister other than the helmet and the cape. This helmet is removable. I can pop his head off, and I think that'll make it easier to get the cape out through the back. And damn if he doesn't have rubber tabs on there. I didn't notice those. Yeah, I kind of figured what with this being, Mattel Creations website exclusive, maybe they'd forego the rubber tabs. Why would they do that? Sean Franklin says, did you know Michael Jackson buying Marvel? Yeah, he almost bought Marvel, and he almost played Spider-Man. That's true. Yeah, Michael Jackson wanted to play Spider-Man, which I've said before, talking about like Donald Glover wanting to play Spider-Man and everything. I think Spider-Man is a character that would probably work pretty well with like a race swap. I don't think Peter Parker necessarily needs to be a white guy. Although personally, I more think of Peter Parker as being Jewish, but that's just me. So, but I wouldn't mind seeing Peter Parker if they cast a black actor to play Peter Parker. I think that could work out fine. I don't have a problem with it. I kind of feel like Spider-Man is probably one of the best superheroes to do a race swap on, because he's wearing that costume where you can't really see his face or his skin or anything like that. So it doesn't really interfere with like the visual look of the character to make him a different race. He's still just going to look exactly like Spider-Man, right? He's not going to look any different. So what's the big deal, yo? You're really more talking about making Peter Parker into a different ethnicity. And I kind of feel like Peter Parker is kind of an everyman character. So shouldn't he be able to represent every man? Why couldn't Michael Jackson, play Peter Parker? I think that'd be fine. He would have had like I think the right sort of quality of being kind of like not like how do I put this? I don't want to put it in like a mean way, but he's not like he's not like the stereotypical action hero in terms of his masculinity, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to say he's effeminate or anything, but he ain't exactly Sylvester Stallone, you know? Like he ain't like a macho, you know, gung ho, muscles on top of muscles kind of guy. And plus, like, think about MJ's skill as a dancer and how he was like very agile and able to move gracefully. Can you imagine Michael Jackson in a Spider-Man outfit and the crazy ideas that he would come up with for the movements and everything like that? Like Michael Jackson being a dancer and a choreographer, and like think about like the Thriller dance and how they were able to make like a zombie sort of dance like that, and it worked for zombies, and it still was like a really cool dance. Like Michael Jackson could have probably come up with some good spider-like movements that he could have incorporated into the character. And I've not seen a whole lot of Michael Jackson's acting outside of, like, you know, Captain EO and various music videos, and The Wiz, I think, is like the only feature film where he had like a starring role that I can remember seeing anyway. I mean, there might have been some other ones, but I can't remember them. I think he could have pulled it off. I think Michael Jackson would have been a surprisingly good Spider-Man. Bobby Wald says Matt Tracker is getting race swap in the Energon universe, but as long as the story is good, I'm happy. See, that's another one. Like, Matt Tracker doesn't necessarily need to be a white guy. Like, there's no story reason Matt Tracker really needs to be a white. He could be a black guy. He could be an Asian guy. He could be a Hispanic guy. You know, like they might spell his name a little differently if he was Hispanic, but he could be Hispanic. You know, like I'm talking like in terms of like the storyline. So I didn't mind that they made Matt Tracker into a black guy either. I didn't have a problem with that. So anyway, aside from getting sidetracked from the action figure that I want to open up, let's go ahead and look at the comic book, because it does come with a comic book which says Symmetry of Darkness. Now, like I said, I believe this character is supposed to be kind of a precursor to Skeletor, but other than that, I don't know too much about him, so I'm going into this blind. So, but I'm still going to give him the Skeletor voice, because I like doing the Skeletor voice. So we have the Great Black Wizard on his Great Black Steed, and we've got down there Cobra Khan and this head priest Pythonus or whatever his name is, and there's two Cobra Khans, and I would think maybe one of them is Camo Khan, but they both seem to have hands and not pincers. And it says fire devours all in its path as the Great Black Wizard storms a village with a cadre of cadre. I think it's cadre. Is it cadre? I think it's cadre. A cadre of snake men. Find it, bring it to me. And then we see this wizard guy down here says, "May you burn eternally, Black Wizard." And the Great Black Wizard says, "Same to you." And then Pythonus, I think is his name, says, "My lord, I have found it." And then he holds up this golden disc, which if you're a fan of the Filmation show, you're probably familiar with those. I know I am. And says, "In the treasure stories of the Fallen Kingdom, it isn't gold or discs of gem they seek, but something far more precious. At last, the lost golden disc of knowledge. Soon the golden staff will be mine, as will be Hero's head." And then we've got Hero talking to Eldor over here. And it says, Hero awakens from a terrible nightmare. For days, he's been traveling with his mentor, Eldor, and their ally, Mossman. I dreamt the Great Black Wizard became re-empowered by some golden disc that he seeks my head. But that was no dream, but a premonition. And then Hero says, "Tell me, Eldor, why is he so evil?" Feigning sleep, Mossman keenly listens as Eldor goes into the archives of his mind and remembers. Long ago, the Techromancers were many, whereas today they were but a few, forgotten, a time when we knew what we have now forgotten. And then there's the illustration there. I guess those are the Technomancers in question. A Trekromancy pupil emerged, whose promise surpassed all the mage masters. And then we got some guys down here who look kind of like the Shredder and this kid. I wonder who the kid's going to be. I wonder. You're not ready, apprentice. Your superiors will grant permission in due time. Against the wisdom of his mentor, he sought the texts and artifacts far beyond his station. Disobeying, the pupil opened a rift into the forbidden library and stole a golden disc of knowledge. Patience for fools! Now is the time, always! You see him like grabbing the golden disc. Choose between light and dark, good and evil, for in your choice lies the heart of destiny. Through its arcane secrets, he increased his powers and was able to summon the golden staff. No! You have stolen from the forbidden library. You are exiled from the academy. Now relinquish the disc. And you see him looking all sinister, looking all mischievous there. The young pupil was unmoved by his mage master's words. You old weak men know nothing of the lost arts. Now you see, mage master, there is none greater than I. And he blasts him with this purple blast of energy. My pupil, what have you become? I shall seize the destiny I deserve. And they get into a battle of magic. So be it. Until one emerges as the victor. Ah! And his face gets melted off. Go ahead, finish it. Kill me, or I'll swear I'll be back to wreak havoc untold. The mage master could not bring himself to destroy his pupil. This moment would haunt him forevermore. And then you get a good look at the guy and you see, oh, it's Eldor. It was Eldor the whole time. And Eldor, were you going to tell us your story? Another time, hero. Now, come, let us go. Come on and go with me. That's what I was done singing. And then it says, it is daylight now, and some tales are better left for the dark. And that's the end of that comic. So that's the origin of the Great Black Wizard. Now, there are some parallels, obviously, to the origin story of Skeletor, and I don't think it's too much to infer that maybe he was mortally wounded and had his soul bound to the same demon that was bound to Skeletor, and that's where the connection really is. That's how I'm going to read it. Anyway, Bobby Wald says, this is almost like watching Masterpiece Theater, but I really like it. Well, thank you. It's nice to see somebody appreciates my skills as a thespian. So let's have a look at this figure. And we can see he's got like the kind of standard He-Man arms. His body's molded in kind of a light purple, kind of lavender gray sort of color. Very similar to the color that the Turtles of Grayskull version of Skeletor was. Like I mentioned before, his helmet is removable, and he's got these horns on the side of the helmet that have this metal sphere pinned in between them. And underneath, he's got a skull-like head, and it is a skull. And it seems to be like a little small for an Origins head, but it's a nicely sculpted head, and it's kind of this bone white color. It's not yellow like Skeletor's skull, or green, or however you want to interpret that. That pops right off. And then we got this cape, which I believe in the original Origins version, the plan was that they were going to reuse King Grayskull's cape. And since then, I've seen some people use this on King Grayskull customs. So maybe we could get another King Grayskull figure at some point in the future. I know the Revelation one was kind of hard to find. If they did a 2000X version, they could reuse that cape for it. I'm just saying. So we got this breastplate, and it doesn't have any straps or anything to it. It just kind of clips over the torso, kind of like Sunman's breastplate. And it almost looks kind of like it's got suspenders in the front. They don't quite reach the belt. And that's what the back looks like. And it's got a little peg on the back. And there is a little hole in the back of the cape. So that helps hold that intact. And speaking of Sunman, he has his own little sun emblem on there, but it's not painted in. And then Great Black Wizard has what looks to me like some new pieces. I don't remember seeing them anywhere else. He's got these armbands around his biceps. So new breastplate, new armbands, new loincloth piece, new cape, and these are new legs that they intended to reuse for Blast Attack. So, but this time they're actually reused on the Great Black Wizard. And it looks like he's got the same sort of furry shorts that Masters of the Universe figures, the standard He-Man furry shorts that are molded in this kind of teal sort of plastic with a black belt. And the loincloth is held on with this kind of gold, thin gold belt, almost looks like a kind of a chain that holds it on. And, well, I should probably, like, give a close look at those Blast Attack thighs. I don't know if I'm ever going to get the Blast Attack figure. He's not really a character that, honestly, I ever had any real affection for. I never had the original figure when I was a kid. I barely even remember the original figure existing when I was a kid. So, not one I'm particularly interested in getting, but I might buy him one day if, like, you know, if I'm already buying stuff on the Mattel Creations website and he's on sale or something like that, I might buy it. And then the feet, I don't know if these are the same feet. They're on the Blast Attack figure. Wouldn't surprise me. The feet are reused from Hordax. They're just kind of gold versions of a Hordax feet. So let's go ahead and talk about the articulation. Great Black Wizard can look up about that far, look down about that far. That's really good articulation for looking down. Tilt his head kind of goes from side to side. Rotate the head all the way around. Of course, the arms rotate all the way around the shoulders, raise up to the sides about that far. He's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, which bends in about that far, and that rotates all the way around. He's got the standard Masters of the Universe wrist articulation. Wrist rotates all the way around, moves from side to side. It's got a horizontal hinge on it. Both of the wrists have a horizontal hinge. Of course, the Great Black Wizard rotates all the way around the waist. And, of course, he comes apart at the waist, comes apart at the arms, comes apart at the boots. The head pops off. That's where all the pieces come off on this figure. He can only kick up about that far because he's kind of muscle bound. That's typical for these figures. He can do the splits no problem. So there's that. Great Black Wizard. That always sounds like to me like some kind of minced oath. Like, remember how Perry White used to say, "Great Caesar's Ghost, Great Black Wizard." See, it kind of works. So the knee joint also rotates all the way around at a bit of an angle. And then boot cuts. The boot rotates all the way around. The foot can point down about that far. Foot can point up about that far. And then that rotates all the way around. So let's go ahead and get the cape back onto him. Now that I've got all that out of the way, put the cape back onto him and put the helmet back onto him. But yeah, obviously, a lot of the influence on the visuals of this guy was Skeletor. And I think that kind of the idea was to give King Grayskull his own version of Skeletor. I think that was probably what they were thinking at that time. Although King Grayskull doesn't really figure into this comic too much. I don't know. Maybe they don't want to use King Grayskull in the Powers of Grayskull comics because I haven't seen him too much. Because they don't really want to get into that whole, like, should he be a black guy or should he be a white guy thing. Maybe it was a mistake of them to do that. Like, going back to the race swap thing, like, I understand why they did that and why they thought it was a good idea. But now it seems like they want to go back to the Caucasian version of King Grayskull, as seen by the Chronicles figure. But they don't really want to acknowledge that in the comics, like the mini comic that comes with the figure, because then they don't want people calling him out for being racist or whatever. Oh, King Grayskull can't be a black guy anymore, that kind of thing. So it seems like he's kind of almost in limbo in a way, unfortunately. And that kind of sucks because I like King Grayskull, no matter what the amount of melanin in his skin is. Hell, I made Origins custom of. I made 2 Origins customs of King Grayskull because I like both versions, and I wanted to have both versions in Origin style. And I wasn't going to be able to get the one they actually made because he's expensive, and they haven't made a 2000X King Grayskull, so I had to make my own of that regardless. So I wound up making customs of both. And I thought they both turned out pretty well. And as I've mentioned before, in my continuity, they both exist and they both have a place. And maybe one day I'll tell that whole story, but today is not that day. So he comes with 2 accessories, and these are both accessories that we've seen before. One of which we've definitely seen before in the Origins line, which is the shaping staff. And he didn't really use the shaping staff in the comics, but I don't see any reason why he couldn't use it. Maybe he was the guy who created the shaping staff in the first place. All those thousands of years an eternity has passed. And, but we've seen this before. Evelyn, the cartoon collection Evelyn came with the shaping staff. but this one's molded in a more metallic gold plastic rather than the kind of pale yellow the other one, the Evil Lyn version, was colored in. And what to me is the more exciting accessory is the bone sword. Yes, we finally get an Origin scale bone sword. And while both of these are good accessories for the Great Black Wizard, you know what I gotta do is I gotta take this bone sword and give it to the guy that I first saw him with it, Skeletor himself. Not just Skeletor, but the Filmation version of Skeletor, finally with his bone sword. Now, excuse me, I do have one of these to 3D print, but I haven't gotten around to it yet. But hey, now I have like an actually officially made one. But I'm probably gonna 3D print the other one and give that one to Skeletor, and I'll keep this one with the Great Black Wizard. But I did buy an extra of the Great Black Wizard, so I do have an extra bone sword. So I guess I could give that to Skeletor. Bobby Wald says, at the end of the day, it all comes down to storytelling. Might be a little distracting at first, but you tell a great story and nobody will mind. I agree. And going back to my King Grayskull thing, like I said, I liked both versions, so I didn't really have a problem with it either way. But like I did kind of feel like they were different enough that I had to incorporate like both versions into my continuity. I didn't want to leave one out because, like I said, I liked both versions. So I came up with an explanation as to how they all fit together. So I know how they fit. Like I said, maybe one day I'll talk all about that. Maybe just do a big long video where I talk about a big sprawling video where I talk about my version of the Masters of the Universe mythology and how everything fits together, and do a Q&A, and everybody can be asking me what I think about this and what I think about that, and hey, that idea is cool and that idea is stupid and all this kind of stuff. Grant G is here and says, oh cool, I want this figure, he looks awesome. He is awesome. And I'm glad that I bought him a while back when he was like a brand new figure because I was really excited about him. And then when here recently, when they had like the buy one get one 50% off sale, I bought another one because I'm like, hey, he'd be cool to use for customs. But let's see here. I will look it up and see. I don't remember if he's one of the figures that's on sale right now or not. I know when I bought some figures that were on sale, I got an extra Sharella, and I got an extra Hurricane Hordak, and I got an extra Thundercats He-Man. So I did not get an extra Great Black Wizard this time. But I don't remember if he was one of the figures that was on sale or not. So I'm just going to check because I'm kind of curious about it myself right now. I'm going to check on the Mattel Creations website and see what I can. So I know they got some of these. No, he's still $22 on there. But he's probably worth $22, I'd say. He's a nice figure. So that's a little more expensive than your standard Masters of the Universe. Yeah, so like the all the Thundercats stuff that they have on here is on sale, which is like the first two waves of Thundercats. So I got an extra He-Man from that, and Sharella was only $10, so I got an extra Sharella, and Hurricane Hordak was $12.50, so I got an extra one of those, and Voltac is $10, Hero is $10. But I think that one's one where you have to have that. That one, the Creations, the members only figures that they have that are on sale for $10 is Sharella and Hero. So you have to be a member of the Club Grayskull to get those. So that's an extra $10. But I already was, so it didn't really hurt me as far as that goes. Bobby Wald says, did you order any of the Crimson Moon figures? Yes, I did. And says, I just got my version of Iron Blood, the Jackal, and Cobra Commander after visiting Hogwarts figures. Yeah, I got all three of those. And I don't remember the characters' names, like Count Iron Moon. I think it's the guy who's wearing the Iron Blood suit, and the one with the Iron Blood head. You know, I think the idea is you're supposed to swap their heads, and then you have Baron Iron Blood and you have the black major. And I think that's the idea there, because the guy in the black trench coat, I forget his character's name, he's got the head that looks more like the unmasked version of the Baron. So yeah, I got those, and whatever the zombie werewolf, I think it's called Legionnaire, the zombie werewolf guy that comes with the actual Iron Blood helmet. So I got all three of those so I could put together Iron Blood. And then I got Red Jackal just because I thought he looked cool. And whatever I think they call him, like, what do they call him in that? Like he's not called Red Jackal. He's called something else. And but yeah, I got those. They're on the way. I'm gonna have those open soon. So but I've just got so much stuff to open right now. So, and that's gonna be one where I'm probably gonna like take a week and open all of them. So, and this guy, I just kind of, I like I said, I'd got him a while back, and I just kind of forgot that I had him. I forgot. Not only did I have him, I got two of them. Like I said, because I got another one later on that I could use for customs. And then I realized, you know what? I haven't even opened up the first one yet. I should really open that up. So he's a really cool figure, and he's definitely worth picking up. And like I said, in my continuity, he's going to be kind of like a precursor to Skeletor. He's going to be like one of the first people that demon was ever bound to. I don't really use Demo Man as the demon. I think I've mentioned that before. To me, Demo Man is another creature that had that demon bound to its soul. And I don't even know if that's the first one. Mark Taylor said that when he was talking about that design, he said that didn't have anything to do with Skeletor. So somebody, Scott Knightlick or somebody, got the idea in their head that was the original design for Skeletor, but it wasn't. You can find the original design for Skeletor online, and it's that one that, like, it looks kind of like Skeletor, but he's wearing a crown, and I believe that Mark Taylor had labeled it Evil Incarnate. That was the character that Skeletor kind of evolved from, that was inspired by that mummified corpse of an old gunslinger that he saw at a county fair when he was a kid. Anyway, that's it for the Great Black Wizard. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment and let me know what you think about this character and the figure itself. And next episode, I'm going to go ahead and open up, speaking of Old West gunslingers, we're going to take a trip back into the DC universe with this guy, Vigilante. And I'm looking forward to getting him opened up. Like I said, I bought two of these. And I think anybody who's familiar with Old West style superheroes, you probably recognize why I might have bought two of them. We talked a little bit about it in last time we talked about Vigilante. Somebody pointed out that he looks a little bit like the Lone Ranger. And I'm like, yeah, that's why I bought two of them. So I do want to get him opened up so I can start on that custom. But that's it for this episode. Please make sure that you like and subscribe. YouTube likes it when I say like and subscribe, so I like to say like and subscribe. Leave a comment. I like it when you leave comments, and let me know what you think about this figure, and we will talk to you next time. Bye.